How'd you like today's workout?
You asking me or you asking Jeff?
I'm asking you.
Me, I loved it. I think the floor press, excellent. But I also did what you guys were doing, the inclines, the heavy sets. I did triceps. So,
So you pre-exhaust.
yep.
You got some triceps in,
good.
and then you did
Yeah.
some floor presses at the
Mhm.
end.
Yeah, I like doing chest triceps or shoulder triceps.
Multitasking.
Mm-hmm. Got it done.
Yes, you
I got
did.
it done.
Yes, you did.
So Titan is having June 9th, Monday, they 1 to 2:30. Apparently they're having a graduation party, but he's graduating on the 11th.
June what?
9th.
June 9th.
Yes.
Nice.
So I know we talked about going to, but we can't because this is going until the 11th. We have to
Going where?
Cancun.
Oh, I got you.
So that's why I was
I
like, well,
got
what
you.
do we have going on? Because he said after the 11th. So
Makes
I
sense.
realized this morning, I'm like, wait a minute. Most important thing in our lives. Forgot about.
Camden? Is that it?
Mhm.
Camden? Caden? Hey, Caden.
Is he talking to me or is he talking to you? What are you talking
He's,
to?
he's talking to probably me.
No,
right?
I think he's talking to me.
He's talking to you.
Caden, look into my eyes
What do you
and
think?
tell me
Caden?
how you really
What do
feel.
you think? What's your thought, Caden? Let us know, buddy.
Oh yeah.
What's the symbol there?
That the salute.
Oh, I can't see it.
What do you think about intermittent fasting?
I don't utilize it with all the people I work with around the world.
But
So it's nothing I've incorporated into working with people.
no, but have you tried it? Maybe
I've tried it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
okay.
I've tried
So-
it.
So what do you think about it if you try it?
For me, slows down the metabolism. The benefits from what they say, the benefits they're trying to do relative to get two different worlds. I think, and Jeff, you can kind of you got the voice of the ear, and even John's got the voice of the ear. The voice of the ear, or the ear to the floor, or what do they say? How do they terminate?
Ear to the ground?
Ear to the ground, ear to the floor.
Johnny, why you look all blurry and stuff?
Huh?
John didn't pay his
You look blurry.
Wi-Fi dial-up.
I look blurry?
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks
Oh,
pretty
there you
clear
go.
on my side.
Better.
You're clear, Johnny.
Okay.
It's her eyesight. Don't worry.
What are you
to
trying
say,
to
I got like,
I'm
You-
getting old.
Yes, you're
What are you
getting
trying to
old.
say?
You're getting old, and you
I
can't
am
see.
old already. I'm not getting old.
Which kind of works out for me because if your eyesight goes, I'm still hot to you. So then,
That's true.
kind of a win-win.
Hmm.
definitely a win-win.
So somebody, we start off with some of these questions. I think this is an interesting. What do you think of intermittent fasting? Intermittent?
Yeah, you know what?
Every minute I'm fasting. I shouldn't
Intermittent-
talk today.
Intermittent fasting.
I don't do that with a lot of clients. Rarely, ever. And then I've only used it for myself when I was trying to get to the most lean possible,
The quicker possible too.
the
Time.
leaner possible position that I've ever been in before. And so, it doesn't matter. I'm a 275-pound guy. I can lose some muscle. So if I lose 10 pounds of muscle, but like 3 more pounds of fat, gold for that
Mhm.
shoot. So I don't use it. I don't like the how it slows the metabolism down. How it, like anything, when you run away from something, that minimizes the use of that thing. So like you run away from heavy weights, well, it's hard to go back to it. You run away from food, well, it's hard to get that 20-year-old metabolism I'm eating all day and I'm not gaining fat. Good. It's
Right.
cool how the body works like that.
Mhm.
What's your thought?
I mean, intermediate fasting, I mean, I wouldn't use it too much. I know that, there's studies out there as far as, fasting for so long is supposed to, have the body start like going through killing cancer cells, supposedly, getting rid of all the toxins, just basically repairing itself, right? I've never done any fasting longer than 12 hours. I mean, think about this. If you go to bed at the right time, right? Like, let's say you go to bed at like 10 o'clock. So by 6 o'clock in the morning, you have 8 hours of fasting in because you haven't ate, depending on what time you eat before you go to bed. Now, if you sleep any longer, you could have more time. And that's why they call it breakfast, because you just broke a fast. So, I mean, everybody fasts to a certain extent as long as you don't eat before bed. But I mean, going through the day like that, I don't know. I mean, I think I would lose too much weight, doing it. Could I do it? Very easily. But do I want to do it? Definitely not. And are you going to lose some weight doing it? Probably. But then, like you said, like it's slowing down your metabolism. The whole point is to speed up your metabolism, right? That's why people they want to usually do intermediate fasting because they want to lose weight. So, I mean, if you're trying to do it for one reason, I guess, and if you're like Mike, where you're using it as a tool and you've got excess muscle to lose fat, then that's one thing. But if you're not in that situation, I don't think it's a good tool to use. I think that there's other ways that you can get to where you want to go if losing weight's the goal. If you're trying to beat cancer and all that, I mean, obviously, listen, like there's certain things you should be not going towards, like sugars and stuff like that. But I think everybody needs nutrition. And one thing that my dad's taught me going through his little situation is that if you do not eat and your body's going through it, at that point, you're going to dwindle away and wither away real quick, especially the older that you get. And it's a lot harder to put that back on. Now, if you got it like Mike, you could probably put it back on because of muscle memory. But at that point, if you've never had it, it's going to be super hard to do that. I mean, as you get older, you less cells in the body, less cells to grow, the harder it is to get bigger, harder it is to put on lean muscle mass. So not to say it can't be done. Obviously, listen, there's people out there that kick ass and take names and they start turning things around in their late 40s. But, at that point, like, I would say eating is going to be on the list. And if you want to like start going down, I mean, going to a deficit, yes, but, make sure that you're prioritizing your lean protein, some fiber, maybe a little fats, when you're in there. A little carbs, I guess, but if you're trying to carb cycle and stuff like that, that might even be another tool that you can use instead of intermediate fasting. That if you want to lose weight, I think that's a good one for sure. I've definitely carb cycled before. I think it's good. I've tried the fasting. The only time I ever tried a fasting situation was one time after I had my surgery. I had my it was my tonsils or something like that. And I went on HCG because I never believed in the HCG diet, because the HCG diet was based on a 500 calorie diet that had clinical studies behind it. And that's why legally somebody could say you can lose up to 30 pounds on HCG on a 500 calorie diet. I never could do a 500 calorie diet, not in a million years. Could I go underneath 1,000, maybe 900 to 1,000? Yes. So that's what I did. I tried it. But I tried intermediate fast for like maybe like a day or two just to see how I feel on it. I was hungry. I ain't gonna lie. I was definitely hungry. So, I drink a lot of water, try to get a lot of sleep in, and just try to fast it through. I tried to shred up while I was sitting in bed basically and retain the muscle. Because HCG, so HCG is like something that's released like when women are pregnant. Like that's what blood tests you run on them. You run an HCG qualitative and an HCG quantitative. And this will tell you how far along the woman is pregnant, right? And you can tell just from those tests. Is she pregnant, one, and how far along? But it works in the same realm as far as when that HCG goes up in a woman's body, what starts happening is they start getting rid of belly fat and starts creating like the womb situation for a baby. So that's kind of how it works. But for a guy, obviously we don't have that, but it starts disregarding the belly fat in that area too as well. So there's some different tools out there you can utilize, but as far as that goes, I would do carb cycling. If you're thinking about intermediate fasting, I think it would work a lot better.
A couple of things I want to just jump back over. Age is an interesting one. I think age is a great point that John made about fasting. But then that argument then goes against the point of muscle. And again, as you age, you lose muscle. And the point of fighting anything as you become elder, the more chance you have to beat it, the more muscle mass and size that you have at that stage. So then you're giving up one for the other. So again, that's up to the individual. The studies are coming out now. A lot more studies are coming out now that the individuals that do the fasting compared to the people that are dieting, there's very, very limited difference between the two, which again, to me, I love that approach, because then it goes back to, don't try to do the trick, just stay consistent. Mm-hmm. So I love that comes out for the people that need the study, because they don't want to take somebody's word for it. No, I need studies to prove me right. Well, here's the studies. The studies is the person that fasts during this time compared to the person that stays on a nutrition plan, there's very little difference whatsoever.
Right.
And then to going to the body and cleaning itself out would be something that people do fasting for, and, you know, clean out the liver and the kidneys. And I love some of these doctors that are just so point on, and it's like, that's their job. Don't worry. They've been doing this since you were born. That's what the liver and kidney, they clean your system out. They don't need your help on this aspect of it. Relax, Junior. It's doing it already. And then my last statement is, if you're trying to get in shape, and the idea of working out, being consistent with your training, drinking water, eating a healthy diet, optimizing your body with Titan Medical doesn't sound right for you, and somebody just saying, hey, what about I just incorporate fasting? I can't help you at that point. You're trying to bypass easy textbook that's already shown you how to get in shape, and you're just trying to jump to the trick.
For sure. So, it's going to work a lot better for you in the long run to be consistent with nutrition and training than it is to try to run intermediate fasting. It just is. If you're very consistent and you're training consistently, you're going to get a lot better results. You're going to look a lot better, and you're going to feel a lot better.
What do you got to say about this? You can't fast.
Well, I was going to say that for me, and from my experience, is that if you just eat your nutrition, and let's say you have 4 meals a day, I'm just saying, you know, we eat more than that, and you be consistent when you're training, you could see that your body might plateau somewhere somehow. And the only thing that you should be doing, not going to fasting, maybe increase the meals, right? Cut the portion maybe by a gram of protein, or like increase a gram, play with your nutrition a little bit, okay? Not a lot. Don't start doing like 5 hours of cardio because you're plateauing and not seeing results. Just play with the nutrition, see what happens. Because I'm going to tell you this, and I hope my sister is not watching this on Facebook right now. My sister's overweight, and she tells me, I don't know how I'm getting weight and how I can't lose weight. I think it's my age. You know, she's like 2 years older than me. She goes, I think it's my age because I don't eat nothing all day. She goes, I don't eat anything till 2 o'clock. And then I had an oatmeal and whatever. And I said, well, that's the problem. And I said, you see me, how I'm doing things and how much I eat. Yeah, but, you know, I said, no, it's not. Yeah, you just got to do it.
Same gene pool.
Yeah. Get up in the morning, you know, every day. Really important, the timing of your meals. Yeah, it's important what you eat. But the timing, when you eat, really, really important. You know, space out your meals and see what happens. Just give it a couple of weeks. It comes with the mental. Again, I say you have to be mentally strong to stay with that, because if you do it for 2 weeks and you don't see it, you think nothing happens, and then you don't do it anymore. You have to say, you know what, I'm going to try this process. I'm going to give it, 8 to 12 weeks. Let me see what happens. And I promise you, it will change.
Sounds like somebody's sister needs a blood test.
Yeah. I got my brother to get into it.
For sure.
Yeah,
Sebi did it?
He's going to go now. Yeah.
Oh,
but
I love this.
I think that's a good starting place for her, for sure.
Yeah. They had a special that, so he
it's
jumped on.
one thing, right? Where like, you're telling her, hey, listen, you see how much I eat,
Mhm,
but you've grown to that level.
mhm.
Like if you just go in, and you're like, hey, sis, you better start eating a whole bunch. And she's like, well, you know what? I'm going to start going ham. And then she starts eating like 6 meals a day just to start. You got to start somewhere, but at that point, progressively, just start going up to that level. But once you get there, I mean, like you, I mean, and she does come from the same gene pool, so it's in her,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
far as that goes, genetic wise.
It's just mind blowing. But yeah, first they have to see what's going on inside their body. So I absolutely agree that the blood work would be definitely something they should be
I
doing.
think that'll be really good.
Yeah,
For
and then
sure.
of course, get on that nutrition plan. Try to stay consistent on it. You don't have to go to the gym, freaking 7 days a week and kill yourself. That's not how it works. That's definitely. I
Ah,
would start with the nutrition. Not even just go for
of
walks,
course.
and then
Of course.
slowly incorporate training, and that your body it's gonna see results just from doing the nutrition. You know.
Yep. I
But
agree.
yeah, but if you are on a nutrition plan, like that's perfect. And if you're training and you're doing cardio and you still don't see the results that you need, that means something is wrong inside your body. How can you
Mhm.
know that? Get your blood
Mhm.
work done,
Mhm.
check all your blood levels, see where you at, and see what's missing. Something is missing or it's not working, and you could fix it
Right.
now. We are hello,
Right.
century where we could do anything that we want to do as long as you want to do it.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yes.
It's a lot easier
Yeah,
before.
you guys had a special going on. I forget when that was, not too long ago. Blood work. So my brother jumped on that and he got it.
Nice.
He told me he's gonna go to LabCorp and get. It makes me so happy because I want him
Yeah,
to, especially for the guys. He's 48. He needs to
for
know where his
sure.
prostate is, like what's going on with himself. It's
Yeah.
it's just the doctor. When you go to the doctor, they just don't do certain blood
I
tests. They
know.
just don't do it.
I know.
So
I know. They don't. They didn't want to. They don't want to open Pandora's box, and I mean, it's just a lot. It's a lot for them. So at that point, that's good. That's why Type Medical Center is around for you guys nationwide. We're here for you guys, and that's all we focus on our scope of practice here is preventive anti-aging medicine. So whatever you guys want to do to look good, feel good, and perform better, improve quality of
what
life, that's why Type Medical Center is here.
what's the age again when somebody could call medical, type medical and say, hey,
18.
is it 18 to
18.
what age?
18.
And what's the
I
cutoff?
mean, we take up to about 65. Everything's
If
a
you're
case by case
older-
scenario. When
But if you're older than 65 and you go into the office, and
Yeah.
then they meet you, and there's other things.
Yeah.
Because I have Titan medical people in the Titan crew that are 75 and 80 that are
Yeah.
working with Titan Medical. Now they did have to, go in there and they had to be seen by them in person. I think that's smart for
Yeah.
anybody. Just FYI.
the older you get, there's more things that are chance to happen, right? That just come on genetically or disease wise, and we just want to make sure that somebody's going to be healthy. That's it, because health's number one priority. I mean, not to say, listen, there's 70-year-olds that are real healthy. There's 70-year-olds that are really unhealthy. There's 40-year-olds that are really healthy. There's 40-year-olds that are really unhealthy. So they could be a 40-year-old we turn down too because of their medical history. So it's not
Right.
just age, but it is a case by case scenario. Once they start getting their, until late 60s, mid 60s, we want to make sure everything's good.
I got a great Titan crew member who's 73, a fire chief, does mixed martial arts 3 days a week, trains
Oh,
5
wow.
days a week. And he's the one that kind of, I didn't know this at first, because he's 73.
Yeah.
Titan Medical said had to come in person. And I was like, no, I'm sure they don't. But then I didn't know the age. And so this is a great learning experience for me to understand this. But then when he went in there, they were like, holy shnikes. Oh, wow. Wait a minute. In no world are you 73 tussling 3 times a week and
That's
still
awesome.
at his job, still doing his thing. And
That's
he
awesome.
was, he has burn marks on his back and left side from 9/11 and being there.
Oh, wow.
And so just props to first responders. There's something there at Titan Medical for you guys to make sure that you call them up and say that you're a first responder. I
Definitely.
support you guys 100%. Please be safe out there. Keep doing what you're doing, but be safe. Be safe is the main thing. And again, to my Titan crew members, you guys are doing great. Make sure you continue to stay on the blood work protocols and all those things. And now, if somebody like this, Johnny, if somebody at 73, society seems to clock that up or mark that up as, he's genetically gifted. He's got this, he's got that. How do you discuss this with somebody and go, well, listen, regardless of what they have or don't have, it's your life. Let's make you the very best you can be. Maybe you're not this guy, right?
Right.
But you
Right.
still, how do you talk to them and say, we can still get you to be in better shape as you age?
Sure. Well, I mean, everybody's different, right? Everybody has different genetic makeup, so everybody's going to be different, right? And especially, what could happen down the road. But at that point, everybody could be better, and everybody's at different levels in life and different levels of health and fitness. So at that point, I would worry about you. How can you improve your quality of life and stop comparing yourself to the guy or girl next to you? Because when you start getting a comparison like that, there's always going to be somebody bigger, better, badder than you. That's one thing I learned when I was young. There's always going to be something like that. You might be the baddest bad boy on the block. You might be the healthiest you think on the block. And there's always going to be somebody that's going to dwarf you or tower over you in this situation. So that's why I look at, like, listen, like, you're different than him. And at that point, what's going on and how can we help you get better? Right. And that's what we'll focus on. So, whether it's a guy and he has low testosterone, like, we want to optimize that testosterone, get everything working like it should, get him feeling good. And at that point, him going on and improving his quality of life by exercising more, maybe changing his diet, maybe doing things that maybe he hasn't done before. Right. And these are things that we would focus on with a patient by patient scenario, I guess, as they come in. But I would tell them, I'd say focus on yourself. Why you worry about the other guy? You worry about the other guy, you're taking away from yourself. So focus on you, get yourself bigger, badder, better. And at that point, maybe you can go out there and then you can start comparing yourself to other people.
We got a question up there.
Sure. Best thing you've done for your training since you've gone into your 50s. I'm in my 50s, by the way, so I'm not there yet.
This cat is 44. We got a 49 going on 35 over here, and then you got me going into 100. I think for me, it's just the consistency. I just purely just consistency and the mindset. I have a ignorant bliss, a beautiful ignorant bliss of what is possible as you go through life. So the I guess the textbook and society's belief of what you're supposed to be and what my belief is two different worlds. So we did a little chess today, and we were moving more than all the young 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds that were there, in better form and smoother and less hiccups, less injuries. So again, mine's just consistency for myself. You're almost there.
Well,
You're almost there.
I'm not 50. I'm not talking.
I think consistency, no matter what age you're at. If you're consistent and you start being consistent, no matter what. If you start younger, it's going to be better over time for sure. And if you're older, start being consistent. Start being consistent about what you do every single day, and you will improve in those areas. As far as training goes, one thing I could say, and I'm not 50, I'm 44, but at that point, one thing I've learned as I've gotten older is definitely, taking your time in there, going through and really having the intensity through your lifts. Even if you're in pain, find things that work for you and still go through it 110% of what you can. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, well, for us, I think that a lot of people, they get bored with their just lifestyle and their eating program, and we're lucky that we have all these different nutrition plans. So, for example, if I want to start a new plan, what I do, I do like a week of a dry out. So that's it's an actual plan when you're getting ready for something, and then cleans out my mind, my body, puts me on a regular program. And then we have all these different programs, depends what my goal is, where you can just jump on and do whatever your goal may be. So if you want to get in shape for the summer, we have a 6-week program. If you want to put on strength and you want to be strong, we have power bodybuilding, which is the base of the O'Hearn family. Power bodybuilding, no matter what, that is the base that if we fall off the wagon, which never really happens, that's where we go. And you get enough calories there where it keeps you mentally happy. You get stronger, and it's just a compound movement, so it doesn't take a lot of time. And then you could do secondary workout. However, I don't want to get into the workouts, but we have all these different things that we could play with when it comes to nutrition. So that's the beauty of it, because we don't get bored.
Let's say this though, because you talked about you got to eat more calories or you want to slice up. And this is where I think it's kind of cool in today's world, is that there is support with Titan Medical to if you're a youngster and you need to eat more, or you're middle-aged and you want to tighten up. There's peptides that can help you do these things. And it's a good leadway right now into, first off, what are some of these things that can help them? And then the second one is, what do we have going on at Titan Medical this week for the protocol of the week?
Sure.
For the treatment.
So, so there's all different types of awesome therapies that can help you lose weight, right? From therapies that will maybe help curb your appetite, like tesofensine, or you have, GLP-1s like Sema, tirzepatide, retatrutide, which is a big one that's been just an all-out monster. These are really, really effective. Now, this week we have Sloop 332, and we pair that with retatrutide, and that's our lean, Titan Slim, Titan Lean weight loss package. So this combines two different things. One is an oral capsule. The Sloop 332 has been awesome for patients that just take it alone, but it's been awesome pairing it with the GLP-1 of retatrutide. And the good thing about utilizing these things is, Sloop is it's going to help your body start mimicking your metabolism of you exercising, right? Revving it up, creating that thermogenesis effect. The other thing about it is it will improve, obviously, metabolic health, and will enhance muscle function. It will also help with insulin sensitivity too, which is a big one. And retatrutide, right? So this is awesome because, one, liver support with health and your liver. But the big thing about this one is that it will help you lose weight. It will help curb the appetite a little bit, and it will be better as far as not making you lose muscle mass, because you can eat a little bit on this. So Sema and tirzepatide, that's the big thing that people take, and they're like, man, like, I lost a lot of muscle doing this. Well, obviously, like, pharmaceutical companies are getting, they know this. They're getting the kickback of, hey, listen, this is a problem. So they're bringing out new medications and stuff like that down the pipeline. They're going to, one, help you lose weight, curb the appetite, help the blood sugar. But retatrutide was geared to weight loss and helping improve keeping muscle. So that's the one big thing about it that beats out tirzepatide or semaglutide. So super, super cool. But this package right now, you get $50 off if you get it by this Friday. There's no blood work that's needed for this package. All you have to do is fill out your patient paperwork. You'll see our medical provider via telemedicine, or you can come in our beautiful office. Totally up to you. And at that point, you guys can really take advantage of this stuff. I mean, there's some great tools, and we still got time for summer. I know we're getting down to almost to the 30-day mark of June,
I know,
man.
It's coming close. It's coming.
It's
and
May.
I can't wait. Right? Pool, beach. I mean, we can take our shirts off. I mean, it's gonna be a great time. Yeah. for Sloop 332 by itself is something good for somebody that maybe have damaged their metabolism over the years
Oh,
by
wow.
not dieting correctly or, doing things that might have affected their metabolism. So, at that point, if you think you're having issues, you think your metabolism's slow, one, I would say get a blood test first just to see what's going on because there might be other issues. But if not, like I said, you guys can take advantage of Sloop 332 or you can get the Titan Lean package and get rid of TrueTide along with a Sloop. So an oral that you would take every day or 2 times a day, and then 1 injection per week.
Recovery too, it's really important. Let's not forget, if you have a hard time sleeping, he's been doing the Serenity at night.
Yep. Titan
It
Serenity is a
helps
really
you
good one too
sleep.
as well.
You get a nice, nice night sleep because we're all busy. We have a lot going on, and the brain never
Sure.
wants to sleep, and that really
For
comes
sure.
down. So, you have anything else? But is that just injection, Serenity?
So yes, Titan Serenity is an injectable. It has magnesium, L-theanine, and taurine. So L-theanine is an amino acid that's great for, lowering anxiety levels, calming you down, making it more comfortable for you to go to sleep, right? Getting you into that cozy mood. Magnesium is great too for getting into a sleep mood. It's great for distributing hormones and other great benefits along with it. Taurine's great for brain function, cramping. There's a lot of different things that you can utilize for it, but these 3 things together, they create something that's natural, non-addictive, non-narcotic, and they can help you in 2 different ways. One, it can help the 2 different types of sleepers, one that can't go to sleep or one that wakes up every hour on the hour during sleep if they go to sleep. The third individual would be somebody that has social anxiety, and you wouldn't have to take a full dose of this. You could take a half a dose, not get tired at all, and go out and hopefully be a better you out socially. There's some people out there that I know, so I've got a couple performers and stuff like that go on stage that still get the jitters before they do. One guy pukes every time before he goes on stage. So he's like, do you have anything because these guys were taking beta blockers. Most of the people that I've known throughout my years that are big time speakers, doctors, lawyers are all on beta blockers. Beta blockers slow down the heart rate so they don't get anxiety. They don't sweat as much. They can be more calmer when they're coming across to somebody. But when you start talking about beta blockers, they can make you tired. They can make you seem slow. You don't want that. That's where Titan Serenity can really come into play in that situation too as well. And all natural. These are great things that are in here that are all going to benefit your health and not do anything to damage it.
All right, I'm just jumping into something real quick here. I wanted to go off of thyroid and try to get this a little bit, if we can, removed from the average individual using that as an excuse. Because what was the 1980s and what was that?
Maybe 0.2%.
All right, so since the 1980s, it was 0.2 in the United States. And in today's society, we're at 12%. So, 350 million people here in America and 12%. And that's a majority of women that have any thyroid. Again, 12%'s low. When you understand there's 350 or 160 million women. So guys, if you're out there, let's not clock that up to I got a slow metabolism. Let's start. I don't know. Let's start calling ourselves out. Maybe this is probably the world is healing right now, so this might be a good time to bully yourself a little bit in a sense and say, "Hey, it's me. I'm eating bad. I'm being lazy. I'm not dieting. I'm not training. This is me. I'm not going to chalk this up to just didn't get the genetics. Oh, it's my thyroid and all this stuff. Let's just call it as it is and just put it on ourselves. That way, if you do put it on yourself, then you can start. I think that's a removal of putting it outside of yourself and saying it's the way you're set up. You can obviously any of us can take control of our lives if it's our issue. You can start eating right, like Mona said, tighten meal plans,
Mhm.
optimize your health, like Johnny has continuously said, with all these aspects of what is available.
Mhm.
Blood work
Blood work's key.
first and foremost.
Yes.
Sure.
Then you can understand that maybe there is a problem with your T level.
Mhm.
You can get back to that young 20-year-old.
Sure.
I mean, Johnny and I were on a couple weeks back with Jimmy Mentis, who's closing in or is 60, who's getting back on stage at the highest level.
Amazing.
This should motivate you. This should go, okay, come on now. I'm 25, 35 years old. You know, that individual out there going, I want to put some muscle on. Now you can do it. There's absolutely zero reason for you not to do it. And the information Johnny and Mona are giving you guys today is just helpful.
Yeah, I mean, because most people, like, you know, like as they get older and stuff like that, they talk about losing muscle and stuff like that. Well, most of those people they were doing studies on were not on testosterone replacement therapy either. So obviously, listen, being on testosterone replacement therapy is going to help you keep the muscle that's already there, right? It's also going to help with some different things as you age. So the biggest thing I would talk about would be women and men, but women in particular because of osteoporosis. And osteoporosis, obviously, with the bones, they start getting brittle. And even with males, too, this starts happening as they get older. That's why when old people get old and they fall down, they break a hip,
Yeah.
they break a femur, and it's done after that. Like, they're pretty much, like, doctors will tell you, like, yeah, they ain't going to come back from this one. If they do, they're going to be very lucky to do so. And my grandmother's in her 90s. She broke her femur in her 90s, and luckily she came back from it. Super hard to do. Like, I mean, it's done. But at that point, like, you know, like testosterone will reverse osteoporosis. So if you have healthy levels, you know, your body's going to work in regards to great instead of in regards to not so great if it's missing the things that it really needs and that it had. And obviously, as we get older, we deplete down on a lot of these things and we start deteriorating. And that's why what happens. I mean, so, you know, looking at really preventing these things to happen by doing blood tests and seeing where things are at so you can make an educated decision are very important, because you know what you start now could affect what happens to you later, per se, or what you do not do now could affect what happens to you later. So it's better to be proactive with your health than not. Just is.
Um,
I agree.
let's
I
go a couple
totally
more
agree.
questions. You do?
Yeah, I do agree with Johnny. Yeah, because you could do so much right now to prevent, you know, your life later. So
We're in a different world now.
yeah,
We are. We never had this information. We never had some of these tools, you know, that we can do.
yeah.
I mean, so at that point, like, you know, we have to embrace these things. If not, you're done for. If you do not adapt, you will not overcome.
Best nutrition advice for a middle-aged beginner. Mona talked about this earlier, but just basically getting on the right program that you need to be on right now. And that's, again, a calculation that we'll do for you at the Titan Meal Plan. So just hit my link. And then on top of that, incorporate in your blood work, which is just a given. So mostly you're a beginner. This is something that wasn't available to beginners back in our era. So this is great for you. Do the blood work. You'll know what's working and not working. Optimize that. Get on the nutrition and see some quick changes.
Yeah, I started going over. I started talking to one of my employees, Dan, you know, because he's getting on, you know, he's obviously, it's like anybody else. Once you start in this lifestyle, and then people that join Titan Medical Center and become employees here, the part of the Titan family, they automatically start going towards that path because everybody here is like on that level. So even if they're not in a healthy lifestyle, they start, you know, like start going towards it, right? And coming close to it. So Dan, I mean, he's trained, he's changed his body completely. It's awesome. But he still doesn't know anything really about nutrition. And I was breaking it down for him. And it's hard to, when you know it, it's really easy. But if it's hard to like explain it to somebody and then really grasp it and then be able to do it themselves. So when you start talking about macros, you know, carbs, fats, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and then you start breaking down the calorie count for these things, right? And then you're like, well, fats, you're talking about like 9 calories per gram. And at that point, like breaking it down for their meals. Cause he's like, what should I eat? How much should I eat? How long should I eat? Cause he was like, I'm eating every 2 hours. I'm like, dude, you're eating too much. You can't eat every 2 hours and eat what you're eating every 2 hours. It's just not going to work, especially if you're trying to lose weight. I'm like, if you're trying to gain and bulk and all that, that'd be a thing. But it's something, if you don't know, then they like Titan, right? Like Mike and Mona, they've got plans that make it super simple and super easy so you don't have to think about it. But it's good to learn as you go along the way, right? Like don't just be like, oh, well, I'm just going to do it because Mike and Mona told me to do it. Understand what you're doing and you take that knowledge, right? You get that knowledge, you take it and you embrace it and you can utilize it going forth. And who knows, you could pay it forward and help somebody down the road, whether it's your kid, your family member, whoever it is, and be able to utilize. So, information is power, knowledge is power, and that goes for everything, especially the way you eat, the way you train, the way you go about life, any business protocol or medical protocol. Like, it's all about learning. It's all about that knowledge.
I think this is an interesting one because I was Sean Ray sent me some information about the draft. This can be a little long-winded. Sorry, guys.
Not a problem.
But the draft is going on, the NFL draft, or it happened.
Right.
It did.
And I got some information from Sean Ray about Deion Sanders' kid.
True. Yeah.
Who's, yes, genetically gifted, but he put in the work and he did all this stuff.
Right.
And then it's frustrating to me because you're going to pay this guy 150 million or something. I want him to have a mindset of nobody's better. I do. But again, I'm not a coach. I'm not a gym. I'm not a franchise owner. So I can't comprehend what they're thinking. But they were saying that he got bumped or removed from a lot of rosters because they didn't like his attitude.
Wow.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, I get it. Maybe he's too abrupt or whatever it is. But again, you're asking somebody to come in at the hardest position in the NFL and to rule that locker room and create something. And so he has a different personality than other people. So, but he wouldn't be there if he didn't do the work, is my point. And so he's at least at the opportunity to be this talked about biggest talk of the combines because of his genetic makeup, which is this guy's question here is, my dad can bench 400 at 50 years old almost. Can I do it at 30? No. Your dad did the work. Your dad has has eaten and done whatever he's done to be able to do this. Nobody's gift of genetics gets transferred without the hard work to it. We have the guy right here that is sitting across from us, Big Johnny, has a phenom genetic. He wiggled his toes on that one. This kid is a monster of a child. But again, wouldn't be where he's at unless the kid did the work.
Right.
So no, it doesn't guarantee that you'll do it at 30 years old unless you do the work.
It don't guarantee you're going to do it at all. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
It's so true. I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger's 2 kids, like the one that lived with him and one didn't. You know what I'm saying? It was a big difference there about what was going on. I mean, the Sanders thing, like just personally, like it was kind of messed up. I mean, what happened to that kid? I mean, this guy was supposed to be the number 1 overall draft pick. Now, granted, he could have probably went, about it a little bit better, because he was purposely diving like teams that he didn't want to go on. So he'd go in those meetings and he was just, like, I don't want to be here. It is what it is. I'll have the other teams pick me. And that dropped him to 5th round. He lost out on $40 million.
Is that where he finally went? I don't even know where he went.
He went the 5th round to the Cleveland Browns. His dad wrote a tweet years ago saying nobody would ever go to Cleveland in my family. So it kind of irony the way that it worked out for him. I mean, you're talking about a kid that was making more money in college and NIL way more money, way more millions than what he's going to get paid for a 4-year contract. He was getting paid more in 1 year in college. So, what he did to himself kind of probably shot him in the foot a little bit. And at that point, like I still don't, I still like, for me, I still can't believe it because, all right, you guys want to teach him a lesson, the owners, the GMs. All right, he doesn't go first round. In the second or third round, if I'm one of these other teams, you know, I'm thinking, hey, listen, this guy, I'm getting some good value out of this now. I don't got to pay as much money. I don't got to trade up. I'm going to take him. And I think that's what Cleveland did finally in the fifth round. But I mean, it's, you know, for me, I would have been really upset. I mean, you know, lose out on $40 million from just a signing payday there. I mean, that's a lot of money. So now he's going to have to go out and really prove himself and really make those people pay for him to get paid in the future here. Because at that point now he's got this going against him. And it's like, all right, well, I think Cleveland's got like 5 quarterbacks or something like that right now. I mean, they've got a good amount as far as that goes. So he's really going to have to come out. He's really going to have to bust butt and show people why. One, his number got retired at Colorado, right? So for you to get your number retired in college and go in the 5th round, it's kind of scary. I heard they unretired the number now because of what happened. So I don't know if that's true. I'm gonna figure out that afterwards. I just read about this before we got on here. So
yeah, give us
crazy
information. I there must be so much I am missing on this to be able to drop to that round, mostly because again, he's a genetic freak. He's gifted. Yeah. He's done stuff. So there's probably a lot I miss. But again, the metaphor here is that no matter how gifted you are in life and how hard you work, try to stay humble and on the right path, the best you can, I guess you would say as well. And so for this guy here, I would like to think that you could do this, but it's going to come down to you 100%.
Oh yeah.
Just because your dad could do something doesn't mean you're granted to do it as well.
For real.
Look at Billy.
Because you're made up of 2 different people at that point genetically.
Jeez, oh my God.
That was a perfect example.
I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier.
Perfect example.
Billy Gunn was here this whole last week. He comes out, stays a week just to get mind clear, focused. And the guy's 6'5", 285 pounds.
That's a big boy.
62 years old.
Yeah.
He's I forget that I can't get my arms around his chest.
Yeah.
He's a huge human. Neither of his kids are even close.
Not even close.
Not even close to what this
does.
walking freak.
Yeah.
He's got 2 boys. They're great, but they can't even come
great.
close to what Billy does.
Oh, really? The sons?
The sons are, they're both superstars. They're great at what they do.
Yeah.
And beautiful physiques and good looking kid. Every aspect. Just in no world the size of this human.
Close. Yeah. Billy kills them.
He kills me. He makes me look like a little kid. I'm a 280-pound guy, and he makes me look like a little. Yeah, so it's great. It's great.
True. It's definitely true. I mean, yeah, all I can say is work your ass off, man, because you know every father wants their son to be better than them.
Yeah.
In every aspect, right? You want to be stronger, bigger, badder, make more money, have a better life, all the way around. A good father does. So at that point, like, you know, he'll help you if you ask him. I'd say, hey, listen, Dad, how did you get to this point? Because that's really where you want the information. And we talk about knowledge is power. You know, when you start talking to your dad or you start talking to some of the old schoolers, you start grabbing that knowledge and you start implementing that knowledge, and that will help you get to where you want to go. And that's in anything in life, what you want to do, whether it's business-wise, personal-wise, whatever. You go to the best person in that arena and you get the information from them and you start, you know, utilizing it, and hopefully you'll be successful like they did, like they were.
Yeah, I agree. Great question, though. I totally understand. But again, just for everybody out there, you can be better. And for this kid, he could probably do more than 400. But mostly if he's listening to his dad and following in the footsteps and making the gains on your dad's information that did well, and also removing what he says didn't help him. But it's up to you. Jeffrey, give us some more questions for Johnny. Johnny's on a fire today. Oh, we got.
What is the best? Sorry.
Go.
What is the best post-workout habits to do? Stretching, peptide stuff. I mean, stretching's great. Like, there's plenty of research out there that helps, you know, with muscle development and stretching. So stretching, I think, is great. Plus mobility. That's one thing I think I would have liked to incorporate a lot more throughout the years. I think would have helped me more beneficial. Because all I think about was just getting in there and working out and not stretching afterwards or before. Sleep, nutrition, these things are going to play an obvious role, especially with post-workout habits. I would definitely be
Great question.
drinking a protein shake and then eating probably about 30 minutes afterwards with a full meal.
What
Peptide stuff,
peptides, though?
obviously.
What peptides? Because that's a great question. Because we always talk about
man,
first thing in the morning or last thing at night. But what about having something?
yeah, no.
Yeah,
it
like a
gives you a
Hercules
pump.
potion.
Yeah. Don't
First
need
off, I
more.
would do Hercules beforehand, and then I would do like Titan Strong, which is the branched chain aminos, or Titan Complete right afterwards. But then I would start looking at BPC 157, TB 500 for your post. That'd be a great one, or even IGF 1.
Post.
You can utilize IGF 1 before the workout and then right after the workout. So this would be another good take too as well. So there's a lot of different options you can do as far as peptides afterwards. And then at night, obviously, listen, we want to get that good sleep. So you can use Titan Serenity. You can use some of the growth and releasing hormone peptides. And then at that point, you're going to get hopefully great sleep, great REM sleep, great recovery, and your body's going to come back stronger and feel better the next day. So that is what I would do. I mean, obviously, listen, jacuzzis are good. If you're doing cold plunges, not on workout days, I think that's good. Red light saunas. I mean, these all are tools that you can utilize. There's not one specific thing I would say, unless it's the essentials like nutrition, sleep, water. I mean, those are the big ones. I think they're obviously necessary. And then the other things are just cherries on top. If you can do these extra things, I think it will help a little bit better. Even if it helps you 1% more, it's going to help you out, right? So at that point, the more you do, the more you get out of it.
So the question again is, what are some benefits to do after the workout? And some of the stuff was massage, a meal. Would the meal take place 30 minutes after, so you could do the IGF maybe or the peptide right after the workout and then wait 30 minutes and then?
That's correct.
And again, you're speaking of IGF.
IGF 1 LR3.
Okay. And you were talking about some branch chains that Titan Medical has as well, which
Sure.
are injectable.
Yeah, our Titan Strong has the 3 and only 3 branched chain amino acids: leucine, isoleucine, and valine. So you can inject this afterwards. You can inject this pre too as well. It's something you can utilize throughout the day, and it's just your branched chain amino acids. So instead of carrying the gallon all around all day and drinking out all day long, because they said, listen, but you want branched chain amino acids in your system all day, right? So that's why people are drinking it constantly and consistently. But if you're doing these injections, you don't need to carry around the jug. You don't have the artificial flavoring. You don't have anything in your stomach that's making you gargle or making you feel a little bit weird, possibly. Some are good or some are bad that I've tried. So, but the injection, fastest transportation rate in the body, highest absorbency you're going to get, better result. Automatically, it's going to happen like that.
Great recovery ideas, man. This is taking your gains to a whole nother level and
Absolutely.
optimizing your health. I mean, that's the ultimate point of what we're trying to do here.
Yep. And it's all about optimizing health. You can call it biohacking or whatever you want. It's preventative. It's preventative health. It's doing everything you possibly can to prevent any breakdown or slow down the aging process as much as you possibly can. Does pretty much everyone on TRT need to do periodic blood donations due to high hematocrit, or do some people not have to? So some people, they don't raise on their red blood cell count, hemoglobin, hematocrit. I've seen people on 200 milligrams of testosterone per week, 300 milligrams of testosterone a week, even low as 150, 160. I've seen people on 150, 160 need to do donations, multiple donations throughout the year. I've seen people on 200 or 300 milligrams a week never have to do a donation because their blood cells don't rise and hematocrit and hemoglobin don't rise either. So it really does come down to the person. Some people are more sensitive to that and have to donate. If those levels start getting high, then yes. And what I would recommend for anybody across the board, I call this HRT maintenance. I would definitely do 2 blood donations every single year. That's it. Whether you do raise or you don't raise, automatically I would do 2. Now, if you do raise, like if you're on TRT, HRT, you've had your follow-up blood test, and at that point, hemoglobin, hematocrit, and red blood cell count are high. You obviously want to go do donation to get that down. If those numbers are too high with us, we will make you get a donation before we refill your medications to make sure that you do it, because people will put it off. And if you put it off, that's when bad things can happen. So when you see those 3 things high, we got to start thinking, all right, well, how high are they? And 1 point makes a big difference on those things. Different reference ranges, little points might be a big deal, or a lot of points might not be a big deal. It really depends on what that test is in the reference ranges. But those in particular, every little point counts. So the higher that is, the more high risk you are for a blood clot, stroke, DVT, or heart attack. Because your blood is getting thicker, right? It's becoming, the viscosity is getting really thick. It's getting hard to pump throughout the body, and that creates problems. So whether you do have this problem or you do not have this problem, I would definitely get donations no matter what. If you are having this problem, make sure you're getting monitored correctly. There are some places out there that will not give you a blood test except for 1 time a year. And 1 time a year is not going to do it. 12 months and you be on testosterone, you could have a lot of problems within that time. So I would say at least blood test every 6 months to see where it's at. If you're having problems and you see this coming up every time you do a blood test, then I would more frequently at least do a complete blood cell count, a CBC, to see where these numbers are at to make sure you're healthy. And at that point, you can usually dial it in with a dosage. Like for us, like if a guy was on 300 milligrams and he's consistently complaining about headaches, fatigue, and we blood test him and his complete blood cell count, hemoglobin, hematocrit, and red blood cell count continuously come up to be high, we're going to lower his dose. We're going to lower his dose first. And at that point, we're going to see if that has any, relief of those numbers coming up. We don't want to lower it too low either, but at that point, the person would have to go in for multiple donations. Some people can do this. Some people do not like doing this. So it really depends on the person.
One more for you.
Sure. I see one. I'll wait until he brings that one up. But this one says, if I inject methylcobalamin Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, will I get the effects, or does it have to be daily? My vitamin B count is 509. Okay, so methylcobalamin is a type of B12. There's 3 different types of B12: methylcobalamin, cyanocobalamin, hexacobalamin, right? Methylcobalamin is the most bioavailable B12 there is. Now, I don't care. I've done the Pepsi challenge on cyanocobalamin, methylcobalamin, hexacobalamin. It doesn't matter. You do 1 ml shot of that, and it's 1,000 micrograms, which is 1 milligram. Your levels are automatically going to go up. It's going to absorb in. Some people say, well, methylcobalamin is more bioavailable. Cyanocobalamin is not as much. But I've seen it on both. And at that point, if you're injecting Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that should be sufficient for your vitamin B12 count to come up. Now, 509, let's say this is on a LabCorp scale, is going to be on the lower end, right? You definitely want it to be higher than that. I would say like 900 probably is where you want to be at, like a sweet spot. You can even go higher, but 900 would be good. And if you're taking 1 milligram, 1,000 micrograms, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, your vitamin B12 count should come up. What exactly does blood work tell you about your current diet? Well, if you really want to talk about blood work, affecting or looking at, hey, if I look at blood work, is there going to be anything that would curtail about how my diet is? Well, I mean, one thing you're going to look at is your lipid panel, your cholesterol panel. You're going to look at your total cholesterol, your triglycerides, your HDL, which is your good cholesterol, LDL, your bad cholesterol, and that ratio between the two that will tell you your cardiovascular risk and what you're at. This is a major thing to look at, and this will curtail if your diet is good or bad or needs to be changed. Because if these numbers are all mixed up and you fasted doing this blood test, then obviously whatever diet you're on is not working for you. Or you're taking a medication that's severely messing with your cholesterol panels. There are some medications of anabolic steroids that people will take that will mess with their blood panel as far as cholesterol wise. Oxandrolone and Anavar is one of them. Primobolan is another one of them. These will severely affect your cholesterol panels, and not in a good way. So if those are not in there and your cholesterol panel is messed up, we need to start changing diet. Other things that can be affected by diet to a certain extent are hormones. I mean, I don't know about a huge jump, but you could lose maybe 100 points, eating a lot of processed foods, bad things for you. Different things can be affected by that. Liver functions. So this is another thing that could be affected by your diet. If you're eating a lot of fried foods, processed foods, your liver will become fatty. A fatty liver is not processing like it should. Your body's not running optimal, and this can be directly linked to the diet. But, I think that's a good amount as far as what that goes.
Yeah, it shows if you're being healthy to your body, honestly. I mean, let's skip
Yeah.
all the idea of let's get rid of body fat and let's build muscle. I get that, but also let's do it in a way that you can be healthy.
Yeah.
Because that's the ultimate goal. You're assuming because you're losing fat and you're assuming because you're building muscle that great, diet's perfect. Well, okay. That was the old school mentality, right? And then
Yeah.
we get people like, Mike Metzer, who passed away at 48, 49 years old. It's like,
Yeah.
it's not as simple as that. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It is because you can just do this in today's world. You can go get your blood work done by Titan Medical, and you're golden.
It's true. It's true.
We've done that one. Yeah, we did that
Guy
one.
goes, so is drinking too much coffee throughout the day affecting my gains? So we
Ooh.
talk about this. How much coffee are you drinking? Right? We always got to go back to this. Now, listen, there's a daily limit of like the daily amount of caffeine you're supposed to take in daily could be up to 400 milligrams. They say after that, you're overstimulating yourself. You're taking in too much caffeine. So it really depends on how many cups of coffee you're taking per day. But will this affect your gains? I don't think it's going to affect your gains unless you're drinking a lot of coffee before bed and you're not getting proper sleep to recover. But as far as coffee goes, coffee is a pretty good pre-workout, natural pre-workout as far as that goes. I know a lot of guys that like to drink coffee before going to train and they don't take any other supplementation. So it really depends on that. But I mean, I haven't seen anything out there as far as coffee hurting your gains. Think about the guys that are taking 400 milligrams per serving pre-workouts and drinking 2 or 3 of those servings at one time. They are really overstimulated, way more than you are on that coffee, and they're still making gains in the gym.
Yeah, it's not going to be one thing. Yeah, it's never that one thing. Is it the caffeine? Yeah, I think John makes a great point though. If you're taking those caffeine and you're loaded up after a certain amount of time, and then you're going to bed later and not getting that quality of sleep, and they do talk about quality of sleep. There's a difference between getting 8 hours and 8 hours that's quality, like a drug induced somewhat. You're taking night medicines and sleeping pills to get that 8 hours is not as good as the natural 8 hours of sleep. So it's an interesting thing. But caffeine, I've never seen anybody have problems being those drinks 400 or 500 milligrams. So yeah, that's not going to be the issue.
I did see a study about energy drinks like affecting gains. I'll have to bring that study up. It was about using energy drinks or something like that, but I didn't get to go into it very, very in detail, so I don't really want to talk about it until I do. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, caffeine I know won't. I don't know if anything else in there might sabotage gains, but
Here's an interesting statement, because let me jump off of these questions here for a second, because here's something that's interesting. Studies, if you need the study, great, get the study. So I got this Whoop watch that I've been analyzing for the last year or so, and I'll tell you that there's times that this Whoop watch tells me something and I become a complete kitty cat, just a tool. It says I'm 6% recovered. I better take today off. And it's funny because the HRV is talking about, this is not a good day for you to train, and I go have the best day of training. It's interesting, and this is something that's around my wrist giving me data. So be careful about belief systems. If you read something and it's automatically guaranteed that that's what it is, we can go back to the study of the cold plunge. When you guys got the cold plunge out, everybody in the world said, well, this is the trick, here it is. And then now the new studies show absolutely nothing, no difference whatsoever. But what it did for the people that at least got on a schedule that we talked about earlier in this discussion, it at least put them on a regimen because they believed one thing. Great, that's a positive.
Yeah.
But there could be negatives, like, hey, don't And it's one's funny for me. One of the doctors came out yesterday and talking about fruit. I'm a fruit guy. I love fruit. I can get some great calories and some incredible workouts and stuff. And I'm a big believer in fruit. But studies for the last 10, 20 years is that's not good for you. And it's finally coming out now that it's like I was right the whole time.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to trial and error. See if it works for you. Does the cold plunge work for you? Well, sure. Got you on a regimen. Does caffeine get you up and moving and going to the gym? Great. It works for you. Does it keep you up late at night? It's not good for you.
Right.
Johnny can name 100 things here, and so can I, about good or bad. It has to come down to you to use this. We can only give you the options. Get your blood work done. Find out if the diet's working. Find out if your body's working well. Titan Medical can help you optimize your health, making sure that you're healthy, not just on the inside, but then that can help you on the outside. And I think that's the real reason that Johnny's doing this and looks like he does at 44. Again, this is not a typical 44-year-old. You're a stud that can take off your shirt at every pool party, which you're going to be doing in less than 4 weeks. So, with that being said, we'll leave you guys there today. But Johnny, I got to hold you on this for just a second after we close this out. I got some ideas for next week.
Hell yeah.
Thanks everybody for joining us.
Thank you guys.
Jeffrey, I'll leave this up here for you to do